Hello students, I am Dr. S.R. Gadak. Last time we have studied the molecular spectra. In the first part we have studied what is molecular spectra, and in the second part we have seen the types of molecular spectra. So, we have seen that there are three types of molecular spectra. The first one, that is rotational spectra, then second one, that is rotational vibrational spectra, and third one, the example we have studied of the rigid diatomic molecule, and we have studied about its energy levels of rigid diatomic molecule. Today in this particular lecture we are going to study the actual spectra of rigid diatomic molecule. So, the same equation which we have studied last time about the rotational energy level of rigid diatomic molecule, using that equation we shall actually going to study the rigid diatomic molecule and its spectra. Then in the second part we shall study the rotation about bond axis. So, last time we have studied the rotation about the axis passing through center of mass, and now we shall see whether the rotational spectra is possible about the bond axis or not. And in the third part in this lecture we shall study about the vibrational energy levels of rigid diatomic molecule. Okay, so let us start with the study of actual spectra of rigid diatomic molecule. So, the equation for rotational energy which we have derived last time, we shall consider that equation, and accordingly we shall define what are the energy levels of the rigid diatomic molecule and the spectral lines of rigid diatomic molecule. So, the rotational spectra of rigid diatomic molecule which we have studied, according to which if delta E is the energy difference between the rotational energy levels, then we can find out from that what is the frequency of the spectral line. So, you know the equation that the delta E or simply energy difference is equal to H into nu. You can use that particular equation. So, you can see this equation, that is nu is equal to delta E upon H, where H is the Planck's constant and delta E is the energy. So, delta E represent the energy difference between the rotational energy level. So, if you assume any transition between the two energy levels, so whatever the difference between these two levels, energy difference, that is delta E. And from this transition there will be certain amount of energy released in the form of electromagnetic radiation, if it is a emission spectra, and if it is absorption spectra, then the energy will be absorbed. So, the frequency of radiation due to transition between such two rotational energy levels, it can be given by this formula, nu is equal to delta E upon H. So, this formula is important for us to find out the energy frequency of this particular radiation. Now, in terms of wave numbers, because you know that in spectroscopy we are always representing the terms in wave numbers. So, if you want to represent this frequency in terms of wave number, then you can use this particular formula, that is nu bar is equal to delta E upon Ch, because you know wave number is nothing but the ratio on 1 upon lambda, okay, and you know that nu is equal to C upon lambda, therefore 1 upon lambda, that is nu bar, that is equal to delta E upon Ch. C we have taken to the right hand side in the denominator, okay, and the unit is centimeter inverse, because you know wave number it is represented in terms of the unit, that is centimeter inverse. So, let us assume that this is equation number 2. So, the equation for the rotational energy of rigid diatomic molecule, this equation we have derived. So, Ej, that is equal to H square upon 8 pi square I into J in bracket J plus 1, where J is a rotational quantum number. This equation we have already studied last time. So, we are going to use this particular equation in order to find out the spectral lines. So, using this particular equation in equation 1, okay, equation 1, that means the wave number equation just now we have written. So, if you substitute this equation 2 in 1, so nu j bar, that is the wave number here, that is equal to this Ej upon Ch, and Ej you can substitute from equation number 2. So, that will be h upon 8 pi square I into c into j in bracket j plus 1. So, this is the wave number equation which we have written here by just using the equation for rotational energy. Okay, so, the actual equation you can write in this fashion. So, nu j bar, that is equal to B into j in bracket j plus 1 in terms of centimeter inverse. So, here B is a constant. Okay. So, constant that we have used here for this term h upon 8 pi square I into c, and here j, as I have told you last time also, that is the rotational quantum number, and its value can be anything from 0, 1, 2 and so on. So, this is the actual equation we are going to use in order to define the different spectral line for the rigid diatomic molecules. So, in this equation we have substituted B is equal to h upon 8 pi square I c in terms of centimeter inverse. Now, j, as you know, j is equal to 0. If you substitute in this equation number 3, what you get is nu 0 bar. So, the first spectral line, the wave number for the first spectral line, you can see nu 0 bar will be also equal to 0, because if you substitute this j is equal to 0, the term will become 0 here. So, next value, if you substitute, for example, j is equal to 1, 2, 3 and so on, then equation 3 will give you different values of nu j bar, and you can see the corresponding value. For example, when j is equal to 1, the value j in bracket j plus 1, that will be 2. So, 2 into b, that will be 2b. Similarly, you can see the other values which I have represented here, that is for j is equal to 2, it is 6b, then next j is equal to 3, 12b and so on. So, these are the spectral lines for the corresponding rotational number j is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. So, now if you imagine that the molecule is raised from certain energy level, you can consider two energy level. For example, j is equal to 0 and j is equal to 1. So, if there is a transition between these two levels, that is j is equal to 0 and 1, you can represent it as nu j is equal to 1 minus nu j is equal to 0. That transition will result into a spectral term having difference between 2b and 0. So, 2b minus 0, that will be 2b. So, the spectral corresponding spectral line, that will be represented by 2b in terms of centimeter inverse. Similarly, if we consider the another transition, for example, nu j bar is equal to 2 and nu j bar is equal to 1. So, if you consider the second transition which I have represented here, so when that transition takes place, what will happen? So, the difference between these two spectral terms, that is 6b and minus b. So, the resultant term that will appear in the absorption spectra, that will be of value 4b. So, earlier for the earlier transition which I have represented first, that is 2b. So, the line which appear in the absorption spectra will be 2b. Second case, that will be 4b. Similarly, if you go to the next case, that is nu j is equal to 3 minus nu j is equal to 2. So, the transition will result into a spectral term 12b minus 6b, that is equal to 6b. So, like this you can find out any spectral term that will appear in the absorption spectra of this rigid diatomic molecule by considering the corresponding transition between the energy levels of this rigid diatomic molecule. So, next one also I have represented, that is nu j is equal to 4 minus nu j is equal to 3 and it comes to be 8b and so on. So, one thing it is very clear that the rotational energy level transitions, they will result in absorption or emission spectra having lines at 2b, 4b, 6b, 8b and so on. Obviously, the unit is centimeter inverse. So, you can say that the rotational spectra of rigid diatomic molecule, the spectral line, they are equally spaced from each other. How equally spaced? 2b, 4b, then 6b. So, the interval is constant, therefore, they are equally spaced. The spectral lines are equally spaced, and according to solution of Schrodinger's equation, wave equation. So, quantum mechanics so far you are not studied. In the next courses you may study quantum mechanics, but here I am just going to explain why this Schrodinger's equation is used. So, quantum mechanically the same problem can be solved here. So, according to Schrodinger's equation for rigid diatomic molecule, the selection rule for rotational quantum number is delta J is equal to plus or minus 1. Now, selection rules we have already studied for the atomic spectra while studying the atomic spectra. So, all these selection rule they are derived by the quantum mechanical solutions of these particular transitions, and for the rotational spectra it comes to be delta J is equal to plus or minus 1. So, we have to use this selection rule to validate these particular transitions. So, only those transitions are allowed where delta J is equal to plus or minus 1. So, I have shown this rotational energy level on the this side, and on other side you can see the spectra is also shown. Now, the energy levels you can see here on one side I have shown J value, okay, J is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. So, you can see those values, the J values, and the levels they are arranged accordingly on the energy scale. So, you can see this energy difference, and the corresponding differences they are represented in terms of the spectral terms 0, 2b, 6b, then 12b, 20b, 30b and so on. Now, if you assume the transitions among these levels, so transitions for allowed transitions the selection rule is delta J is equal to plus or minus 1. So, you can see whatever the transition shown here, that is only in between the adjacent levels only, okay, adjacent levels you can see here J is equal to 0, 1, okay, then second 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4 and so on. So, all these transitions I have shown here, and each of these transition that will result into line, certain spectral lines, these lines are shown in the red color in the diagram. You can see at the bottom I have shown the lines that appear in the absorption spectra because of these transitions. So, first line you can say 2b, then 4b, 6b, 8b, 10b and 12b. So, like this you can see the spectral lines, and the selection rule is strictly followed, delta J is equal to plus or minus 1. So, this is what the actual spectra which we have just seen here because of the transitions, and these spectral lines are equally spaced. So, for rigid diatomic molecule you can say that the spectral lines are equally spaced. So, both you can simultaneously compare, that is the energy level and the actual spectral lines they are represented in this particular diagram. Okay, so, these types of rotational spectrum is observed only in case of heteronuclear molecule. Heteronuclear molecule means the diatomic molecule, but the two atoms they are different. For example, HCl, H that is hydrogen and Cl that is chlorine, or another molecule I can tell you example that is of carbon monoxide. Okay. So, these are examples of heteronuclear molecules, and for these molecules the rotational spectrum is observed. For homonuclear molecules like H2 or N2, these kind of rotational spectra is not observed, remember. So, this type of spectra is not observed for the homonuclear molecules. The because of the molecules, there is for homonuclear molecules there is no dipole component change during the rotation. Okay, so, in the second part now we are going to discuss the rotation about a bond axis. So, earlier we have studied all these rotations of the rigid diatomic molecule about an axis passing through the center of mass, okay, and we have seen all that equation of energy levels, and also we have studied the spectra, rotational spectra of rigid diatomic molecule. But we just imagine that whether the rotational spectra is possible about the bond axis. Bond axis means the line along the line joining the two atoms, imaginary line joining the two atoms. So, whether it is possible the rotational spectra is possible about the bond axis, that we are going to discuss. So, after studying this part you will understand why rotations about the bond axis they are neglected. So, let us see why these rotations are neglected. So, first and very important thing is that mass of atom of any particular atom is located entirely in the nucleus, and the nucleus radius you know that it is of the order of 10 raised to minus 14 meter. So it is a very small region where entire mass of the atom is located. And you can see at the bottom I have shown the diagram. So the rotations of diatomic molecule about the bond axis. So the rotation about the bond axis I have shown in the diagram. So you can imagine the imaginary line joining the two atoms, two different atoms. Okay. So the rotations about that line, when you consider the moment of inertia, then what will be the value of moment of inertia? So you know the moment of inertia, it is nothing but mr square. M is the mass of the particle and r is the square of the distance of that particle from the axis of rotation. Okay. Now the axis of rotation is the imaginary line joining these two atoms, and the mass is located inside a nucleus which is having very small diameter or radius, you can say 10 raised to of the order of 10 raised to minus 14 meter. So that distance is very small. So r square will be almost negligible. So the moment of inertia in this particular case of rigid diatomic molecule about a bond axis is negligible. Negligible means the value here will be very small. The value of moment of inertia is very small, because what is the reason? And if the location of the particle, that means the mass from the bond axis, if the distance is very small, definitely moment of inertia will be small. And what is the result? The result is that if you now see the energy level, I have shown the equation for your information. The equation once again in highlighted color I have shown here, that is the rotational energy level equation. From that equation it is very clear that the energy is inversely proportional to moment of inertia. Okay, 1 upon I is moment of inertia. So if moment of inertia itself is very small, what will happen? The energy will be very large, inversely proportional. Okay. So the rotation about the symmetry axis, that means along the bond axis, must involve energies which are very large, and how much large? Almost 10 raised to 4 times of Ej. So this amount of energy which is involved here in this type of rotation, it is very large. And what will happen to the molecule with such very high amount of energy? So the molecule will not sustain, that means it will simply dissociate at such high energy, and therefore the rotation about the bond axis, they are not possible, because you know that any particular entity, it always try to occupy a lowest energy state, and if the energy that is resulting because of rotation about bond axis, it is so much high that will not be a stable state. So molecule cannot exist at such high energy level, therefore this we cannot imagine these kind of rotations about a bond axis. Okay, so now we shall study about the vibrational energy level. So here also for simplicity we are going to consider the example of rigid diatomic molecule. It is not rigid actually, because when you consider vibration we should not use the word rigid, simply diatomic molecule. So after studying this particular topic, you will learn the vibrational energy level of diatomic molecule. So we shall restrict ourselves to a simplest case, that is of diatomic molecule. So if you consider two atoms having masses m1 and m2, so in a diatomic molecule we have two masses of the atoms m1 and m2, they are separated by a certain equilibrium distance r0. So what is equilibrium distance? So there is certain specific distance for a stable molecule in between the two atoms, at which the energy of, especially potential energy. So potential energy of the molecule is minimum, at its minimum level. So that distance is called as the equilibrium distance between the two atoms, and let us assume that that distance is r0. So at such minimum distance, at such equilibrium distance, the energy, potential energy is very small, that means minimum, and the molecule will be stable. So let this is a distance, equilibrium distance r0, and if the molecule vibrates along the line joining the atoms, if you assume these two atoms and this is the line joining the two atoms, so if there are vibrations of these atoms along this line joining, then these are linear vibrations, you can say these are the linear vibrations. So the line joining the atoms along which we have the vibrations, what will happen? The distance between the atoms will change. Because of this vibration, distance between the atoms will change. and because of that the energy is also changing. When distance changes, energy will change. But as we imagine the two atoms are going far away from each other, there will be some restoring force, just like spring. If you have two masses attached to a spring, when they if you try to stretch, there will be a restoring force in the opposite direction. Similarly, here also there will be a restoring force. So at any instant, if you assume that during this particular vibrational process, the separation between the two atoms of masses m1 and m2, if suppose that is r. So this is instantaneous distance during vibration. So what will be the change in distance? Change in distance you can find out by taking its difference with r0, which is the equilibrium distance. So therefore the change in distance between the two atoms is r minus r0, and the restoring force which exists here, and it is acting along the opposite direction in a linear manner. Okay. So the restoring force acting on atoms is proportional to this distance, change in distance, that means deviation from equilibrium position r0. So restoring force is always proportional to this change in distance, or you can say deviation from the equilibrium position r0. So you can represent this by simple equation. F is directly proportional to minus r in bracket r minus r0. Okay. Suppose this is equation number 1. So why the negative sign is used? The negative sign indicates that the force is directed towards the center of mass. Center of mass. That means it is always in the direction which opposes the change in distance or deviation. If the atoms tries to come too closer, then also the force direct in the outward direction. If the atom tries to go far away from each other, then the force directs in the inward direction. So therefore the negative sign is indicated here. Okay, so now let r minus r0, that means the deviation, let us represent by a term x. So if you substitute this r minus r0 is equal to x in equation 1, so it will become f is directly proportional to minus x, and you can just substitute a proportionality constant. So f is equal to minus kx. So let us give a number equation 2 here. Now k, even though it is a proportionality constant, but you can call it or it is representing the stiffness of the bond. It is a force constant, so it represents the stiffness of the bond. What is stiffness? Stiffness means how strong is the bond. If the bond is strong, then definitely k will be having a higher value. If the bond is very weak, then force constant will be very small. So stiffness of the bond, how strong is the bond, that will be indicated by this constant k, that is the force constant. And you know that now in mechanics we have studied force is always represented by m into a, that is mass into acceleration. So where m is the mass of the particle, a is the acceleration. Acceleration you can represent it by term d square x by dt square. So the equation becomes f is equal to m d square x by dt square. So let this equation be 3. Now from equation 2 and 3, if you equate these two forces, that is f is equal to minus kx and f is equal to m into d square x by dt square. So equating these two, what you get here is m d square x by dt square, that is equal to minus kx. And if you rearrange the term, if you take m to this right hand side, what will happen? D square x by dt square, that is equal to minus k upon m into x. So let this equation be 4, and I have represented this in these two diagrams. You can see here the two diagram. First one, that is representing the vibration of two atoms. The two arrows you can see here, the two arrows indicate the motion. It is towards the center of mass, and the force constant of the spring. Now this is not a spring actually, it is imaginary representation. For a bond you can represent it by a spring, because there is some force. Bond is nothing but force between the two atoms, and that holds these two atoms together to form a molecule. Now this is a two particle system. Okay, two particles, they are connected together by certain force, and you can replace this two particle system by single particle system. So the two masses of atoms m1 and m2 you can replace by a single mass m dash. So last time also in rigid diatomic molecule we have seen this case. Classically you can convert two body problem into single body problem. So here also I have represented the m dash is a reduced mass, and last time we have derived that equation. So m dash is equal to m1 m2 upon m1 plus m2. So this is the reduced mass. Now this two body problem we can represent by single body. So single particle is oscillating. This is a simple harmonic motion. Okay. So a two body oscillator is equivalent to single body oscillator, and the mass which is the reduced mass of these two bodies here. So this is simple harmonic motion you can see here. So the mass m in equation 4 you can replace by another term, that is the reduced mass, that is m dash, and because of this replacement equation 4 now will become d square x by dt square, that is equal to minus k upon m dash into x. So this is suppose equation number 5. Okay, now this equation is simply representing the simple harmonic motion, second order differential equation of simple harmonic motion, and the frequency of oscillation after having the solution of this equation, differential equation, we can have the frequency which is represented by the equation nu 0 is equal to 1 upon 2 pi into under root of k upon m dash. What is m dash? M dash here is the reduced mass, k is a force constant, that is representing the stiffness of the bond. Okay. So this is the frequency of the oscillation of this diatomic molecule. Now the potential energy of this system, which system? This diatomic molecule. So when it is vibrating, as I have shown here, the distance between the two atoms is changing, therefore the potential energy is also changing. Force we can use to represent the potential energy, and because of the change in distance the force is changing. So you can use the equation F is equal to minus dV by dx to represent this relation between force and the potential energy. So this is the equation 6 representing the relation between force and the potential energy. But earlier we have defined force F is equal to minus kx. Therefore by just equating these two, minus sign will get cancelled. So what we have here is dV by dx is equal to kx, and if you rearrange the term, if you take dx to the right hand side, dV will be equal to kx dx. This is suppose equation number 7. So the potential energy, if you try to obtain the potential energy for a displacement, if you consider the displacement x from the equilibrium position x is equal to 0 for a single body system here. So if you replace this two body system by single body system and the particle having displacement x from its original position x is equal to 0. So what will be the potential energy? You can find out the potential energy by integrating equation number 7. So V, that is the potential energy, that will be equal to integration from 0 to x. We have brought it from the equilibrium position x is equal to 0 to x. Therefore 0 to x kx dx. So if you find out this integration, what will be that? V will be equal to 1/2 kx square. Suppose this is equation number 8, and if you use the Schrodinger's equation here, Schrodinger's one dimensional time independent equation, we can find out energy levels of simple harmonic oscillator by using this Schrodinger's one dimensional time independent equation. Now this is part of quantum mechanics. So far you have not studied quantum mechanics, so this is not a part of our topic. So we shall directly use the solution. Okay. So here the solution of Schrodinger's time independent equation, this equation is actually d square psi by dx square plus 2m upon h cross square in bracket E minus V into psi, that is equal to 0. So this is equation number 9, and substituting m is equal to m dash in this particular equation, Schrodinger's equation, let us substitute m is equal to m dash and V is equal to 1/2 kx square. What is V? V is the potential energy in this equation. Okay, so let us substitute. So what will be the equation? D square psi by dx square plus 2m dash upon h cross square in bracket E minus 1/2 kx square into psi, that is equal to 0. So we can rearrange the terms in this equation. So after rearranging the term, we can write the same equation as minus h cross square upon 2m dash into d square psi by dx square plus 1/2 kx square psi is equal to E psi. So let this be equation number 10. Now the energy levels of simple harmonic oscillator, they are given by the solution of equation 10. If you solve this Schrodinger's time independent equation for this simple harmonic case oscillator, single particle oscillator, you will get a solution, that is EV is equal to, I have represented this highlighted equation here for EV. So, EV is equal to in bracket V plus 1 half into H nu 0. So, this is the final equation for vibrational energy level of diatomic molecule. This particular equation is important for us. So, this represent the vibrational energy levels of the diatomic molecule. So, this is equation 12, and here nu 0, what is nu 0? Nu 0 is the frequency, earlier also we have defined, which is represented by 1 upon 2 pi under root of k upon m dash. This is the classical frequency. And what is V in this equation? V is actually the vibrational quantum number. Just like while studying the rotational spectra, we have seen the rotational quantum number. So, here also in this particular case, the vibrational quantum number is V, and it is also having the values 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. So, the energy, vibrational energy is also quantized. This is very important. Vibrational energy levels of the rigid the diatomic molecule is also quantized. So, this is important conclusion for this particular equation. Okay, so, whatever the topics we have studied in this particular lecture, I have given you two important questions as an assignment. So, in the first question, I have asked to draw a neat diagram to represent rotational spectra of rigid diatomic molecule. So, you have to show all these energy levels as well as the spectra of rigid diatomic molecule. This is the first question. Then in the second question, you have to show that vibrational energy level of diatomic molecule is given by EV is equal to in bracket V plus 1 half into H nu 0. So, you have to derive this equation, the derivation is important. So, solve these two questions and send the completed assignment on our Google Classroom. So, in this particular lecture, whatever we have studied, I am just summarizing here in this slide. So, first one, the very important point, in rotational spectra of rigid diatomic molecule, the spectral lines are equally spaced. We have seen that 2b, 4b, 6b, so interval of 2b. So, this is important conclusion. Rotational spectra of a molecule has spectral lines which are equally spaced. Then second important thing, we have seen that the rotation about a bond axis will result into very high energy state at which molecule may dissociate. So, you cannot imagine this kind of rotations about a bond axis, molecule will not be stable. This is important conclusion for the second part. And finally, we have derived the vibrational energy level of diatomic molecule, and we have derived the equation for EV, that is equal to V in bracket V plus 1 half into H nu 0. So, next time we are going to study the frequencies of the lines in vibrational spectra. So, energy level equation we have already derived here. Next time we shall use that energy level equation for vibration of a diatomic molecule, and from that we shall try to find out the spectra, vibrational spectra of diatomic molecule. And very important effect that is observed in case of molecule, that also we are going to study, and that is nothing but fluorescence. So, I will define there what is fluorescence, and we shall see what is the theoretical reason for fluorescence observed for certain molecule, and we shall also see some examples of fluorescence.